Tell me a little bit, what are your thoughts on the future of event marketing?
You know, I get to go to all the associations from CISO and SEER and ESCA, obviously ours, and then Exhibitor, or the EDPA. We go through a lot of those different associations that we go with it. One of the things I think we need to be more consistent with is how we come together as a community in one group and have one message. Sometimes when we go to speak to it, it becomes a little diluted if we're a show organizer or if we're actually an exhibitor or an attendee through it. But it's really one community and ecosystem that I wish we would work a little bit harder together on some of that. And that's been our approach from the exhibitor. Past exhibitor was a little more just in their circle.
Sure.
We want to be more encompassing with it. And there's a big event coming up at the end of May 29th, I think is the date, but it's the Advocacy Day. And we have to go to Capitol and tell our story because there's still so much of this that is not in the world or the public knowledge. And some of these decisions that are being made will drastically affect our industry.
With that, so how do you feel like all of these little changes will impact the future of the careers? Do you think that they're going to have more support? Is that the goal, obviously?
Yeah, and I think all the associations, that's a great example, are working on their initiatives for the workforce and how do we get the new workforce that's coming into play. The average age in our industry is still more my size, a little older than that, and we're going to have the big silver resignation soon.
Sure.
There is a lot of work that's being done there, and I'm proud to be a part of Laura. I'm on the board with her and working on some of the stuff. It's going to create more awareness. We had not only BSU and FIT here, but we had some local universities and even a couple of high school students at the event this year.
Wow.
And really trying to bring the awareness to this industry. If we all work together, I think, again, that'll help us even more bring people aware of it, the universities and the workforce, so they realize how great this industry is. I don't know about you, but most of us fall into this and then we don't want to get out. It's great. So how do we just communicate that better?
Sort of what I touched on earlier is the evolution of the role of event marketer from coordinator to contributor, from
A strategist, strategy versus planner.
Being accountable for numbers and for outcomes. I think the modern marketer knows how to use data and uses it for insight into their audience's behaviors and then is able to use those insights to craft a meaningful and resonant experience for the audience that hopefully will inspire connection and action.
That's easy.
Okay.
It's easy because people are going to take the easy way out. They're going to rely more on AI. And they're not going to realize that AI, whether curated or general, will not be the sole answer. You rely on it too much like you do screens. And after a while, it gets predictably boring or it's too error prone. And the recent research shows that AI cannot stop lying. It cannot stop hallucinating.
Interesting.
It's almost like a human who can't help lying and telling a tall tale when another tale would be better and more accurate. I think they'll rely too much on that. They'll go too much in that direction and not realize it's just simply another functional tool. But that's all it really is. It is not going to sell for you necessarily. So that is where I see people going. But again, we're going to have to pull it back and rely on old-fashioned one-to-one relationships that take time to build. And this is the only kind of place you can do it.
That's absolutely right. That's very spot on. Now, other technologies besides AI, do you think that there are other technologies that are going to reshape the future of event marketing?
Sure. I think things like directed sound, which can only give you sound in one particular part of your booth. It's been there for a while. I think it'll be greater. I think there's an offshoot of AI, which I've noticed at World Expos, which is building your digital doppelganger. And that's building a digital double of you.
Like an avatar?
Like an avatar, except sometimes they don't look human. They look like they could be made of auto parts, oddly enough, or a shadow. And I saw it used in Dubai, but the problem with it is it needs enormous processing power because otherwise you're waiting 2, 3, 4 seconds for it to catch up with you. And if you're going station to station, and think about it, 1001, 1002, 1003. Oh, here it is finally. You get a little, you're like, it doesn't work. But it's powerful because you can interact with it ideally.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
Think about it. And in other words, it tells the story to you that the brand is trying to tell, but it's you talking to you, which is actually kind of cool. But again, it relies on the fundamentals of good processing power and good design to make it work. Those are things I see coming down the pike. More than that, though, I think you're going to see a greater and greater emphasis on sustainability. And it was big about 10, 15 years ago, went into a valley, so to speak, and now it's back again with a vengeance. So I think you'll see more emphasis on recycling, recyclable plastics, FSC certified wood, and other things to make your booths out of. And it will be so normal. And I think we'll all kind of start to compete to do a better version of it. And remember too, this appeals to what? Gen Z, being socially responsible. So again, there's laws, and then just if you will, the marketplace are going to have to respond to with this. And that's more or less in a nutshell what I see coming down in the very near future.
Well, I mean, I think AI and some form of chat GPT or some AI tool will always be there. I think it's Jasper. But some type of tool will always be at our disposal. And if you're not using AI in some form of fashion, not necessarily to do the work, but to help with budgets or creative, I think those tools will help us be more efficient at what we do. So it's not necessarily it's replacing us. It's more we have these tools when it comes to having to develop a brief or, help with the budget that we can use so that we're focused on that mission, that strategy.
That's really good tactical advice. And one of the biggest themes that I'm seeing at the show, and in our coursework and everything, has been AI. I'm really excited to kind of see where that takes us. And, I think that for preparing for that, there's a lot of efficiency. I know a lot of people have been scared and how that's going to impact people's jobs, but in seeing how it can help us as a tool to become more efficient in a lot of ways.
Helps us wear those hats a little bit better.
Yes, exactly. I think there's some amazing opportunities there, but also just to see some more cool experiential things. I'm excited to see what can happen with that.
Sustainability, but I think in the short term, I do think that's what it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
I think it's not just us, right? In the industry, let's talk about this show. You walk in and they're handing out bottles that are sustainable that can be reused, right?
Yep.
We talked about the swag that I ran to get. Well, those are glass bottles, and glass bottles are also recyclable.
Yep.
They're not single-use plastics. So yeah, I'm kind of seeing it from top to bottom, right?
Right, everywhere.
And we did talk a little bit about how the booths themselves are becoming more sustainable, but I think everything around it is also becoming more sustainable.
But no, I agree, because I even see some clients aren't doing, pens or notebooks, or just where they call them useless giveaways, right? Where they make sense and then, being more sustainable. So no.
Even those, right? So we, obviously, when people come to B Matrix, started working at, we want to make sure that they're sustainable. So we give them a metal bottle that can use to refill all the time. And then the notebooks that we have for our staff, they're made of recyclable material.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It is, even though we don't, I'm taking a step back. B Matrix is setting sustainability targets for itself. Yeah. But it isn't shareholder driven like a lot of the Fortune 500 companies are. But we really do see that's the future, because honestly, a lot of times the most cost-effective way to do something happens to be the most sustainable way. And I think that kind of getting people to shift their perspective on that is going to be, you mentioned the future. I do think that's where we're heading.
We were just talking about that, in fact, in my budgeting class. I think that 5 years ago, event managers were event managers. And what's happened is over the last 5 years, there's been a need for us to start thinking about our event programs from the perspective of an omni-channel marketer. We have to understand things like ABM strategies and ABX strategies and how digital marketing factors in and how social media marketing factors in. Events are sort of their own marketing ecosystem. And so I think that for modern, event marketer to be successful, they have to understand how omni-channel marketing works.
Okay. What do you feel like is the most beneficial to know from omnichannel?
Right now, ABM.
Okay.
ABM and ABX, I think I was first introduced to ABM, ABX strategies, I want to say in early 2022. And now what I'm finding is pretty much everybody I talk to is what is this? What do I need to know about this?
I think that hybrid is still a very huge thing. I don't think everybody's back in the office. I think there's a lot of people that work from home and are remote, whether it be for A, B, or C reason. I think that bringing
virtual events, whether it's, podcasts, or we are having a webinar series that Lenovo we're in talks about doing. And that just brings our knowledge out to people that maybe aren't coming out to these kinds of events. And so I think it's still super, super relevant.
Just like any industry right now, I think that many of the new administration's policies could be affecting our industry.
Sure.
Whether it's certain research that is no longer being funded, which could affect healthcare meetings, although there are also policies that are being supported that accelerate approvals for drugs, which could affect healthcare meetings in a very positive light.
Sure.
So I think we're in kind of a wait and see mode. I know government meetings are definitely being affected right now with a lot of the layoffs and things like that. So in our industry, it's kind of a wait and see, but planning for all of this, having a contingency plan, making sure that you are
B's and C's.
Yes. Yeah. Or through Z. Honestly,
really.
It's a crazy time right now. But I think being a strategic partner with your clients can really help them determine, are you going to the right meetings? Do you need to have that size booth at that meeting? Do you need to upscale? Do you need to pull back?
Sure.
So really having those strategic conversations and transparent and lots of communication right now is very important.
Well, I do think that there's a younger audience coming in to the shows, along with younger people coming into the event industry. And that is something I'm noticing a lot here, and a lot that are first timers here.
Okay.
So one of the things is, yes, we're going to have to look at how we reach our attendees. A lot of them are social. They get a lot of their information from social media or other digital aspects. So we need to look at all of those and figure out how we can use those in comparison with our current marketing strategies to invite them in and make them feel a part of that whole journey.
So really planning ahead, knowing your audience.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to in the future of event marketing that maybe not everybody's talking enough about?
Not really. I'm immersed in the moment a lot.
Oh, I love that.
I just really enjoy where we are kind of right now. AI is on the cusp, of becoming this thing. And so I'm just really now starting to learn about that. But I hope that the future for trade shows is just more growth and more people realizing the importance of trade shows.
Yeah, face-to-face relationships.
Yes.
Nothing really beats it, right?
Yes, that is true. That is true.